Hello there. This is Miriam, holistic life coach and mind body practitioner at Pain Outside the Box. And today I'm going to be discussing the concept that there is nothing to fix in your body if you have chronic mind body pain or symptoms. It's a kind of controversial concept because when we are chronically in pain or have chronic symptoms, we obviously feel that there's something we need to fix. And hence the title of this video, because to be honest, there is something that needs to change. There is something that needs to be fixed. But the idea is that it's not your body that needs to be fixed directly. It is actually your mindset. The way that you perceive your life, the way that you perceive your body and your symptoms. So I just wanted to go into this a little bit further in this video because a lot of people, especially in the beginning of their mind-body journey, they find themselves trying to deal with a multitude of symptoms or maybe with a single scary symptom. They look into therapies and options like even surgery, physical therapy, manual manipulation, chiropractic care, all of which are aimed towards adjusting their body in some way. And sometimes something a little bit imperfect or wrong is really found in the body, and people focus on trying to fix that. For example, just to give you an example, it's common for people with chronic pain to have a little bit like weaker muscles. Let's say that you have chronic pain in one shoulder and not in the other. It's obvious that if you go to a physical therapist, he would notice that, the shoulder that is in pain, it's a little bit weaker. There's less muscle in that shoulder than in the other. So this person might be recommended, physical exercises to increase the strength in that shoulder. The only thing is that, yes, you can do exercises to increase the strength in that shoulder, but it is not true that the pain, the chronic mind-body pain, is coming because that shoulder is less strong than the other, just because the muscles are smaller or whatever. If you have debilitating pain and you've had it for months, right? I mean, the fact that this shoulder has less muscle in it than the others is just a consequence of the fact that you haven't been using it as much. You can fix that, but doesn't mean that it's going to fix the underlying pain, right? If we accept that pain is coming from emotional distress, tension, and the fear of the symptoms themselves, then it is our relationship to the symptoms that we have to fix, and also maybe our relationship to life in general, to the stressors that we're dealing with in our lives. So hence the title of this video. There's nothing to fix except your mindset, except maybe aligning yourself more to your priorities and to your values, to respecting yourself more, and starting to build more trust in the body. So what needs to be fixed first and foremost is the idea that your body is broken, right? If you have no broken bones, if you have no infection, if you have no tumors, if you've been medically cleared of serious conditions, you have to get rid of the idea that your body needs to be constantly fixed. Yes, maybe your body is not in the ideal state right now, but all of these symptoms, remember, are just consequences. They are consequences of this distress that's building up, that has built up within you, right? So it's pointless to try and fix the symptoms if you're not doing anything about the cause. And one other thing I wanted to point out is that when you have multiple symptoms, let's say you have fibromyalgia, you have, just multiple symptoms in different parts of the body that are unrelated. Maybe you have chronic pain, but also fatigue, or also an autoimmune condition or a skin condition or whatever that you've had persistently. We have the tendency to think that these are separate problems. These are separate medical issues. In the mind-body world, we don't see these as separate. We see these as consequences, as symptoms of more or less the same thing. And that cause is the emotional dysregulation that is caused by repression of unpleasant emotions, that is caused by the fear that's building up inside of you, the mistrust, okay, the doubt, also caused by frustration and anger that you might have built up because you have been denying yourself a break or whatever else you want for so long. You have been pushing through, you have been adhering to society's standards, to other people's expectations, trying to live up to these expectations that maybe are unrealistic or are just not for you. They're creating too much pressure for you or are not really in alignment with you. All of these things cause this inner emotional tension and distress, which leads to dysregulation over time. And what happens with a dysregulated nervous system is that we become much more sensitive to outside stimuli. We become more prone to building tension in the body. We have more hormonal imbalances. Things just go wrong. And there's a multitude of things that can go wrong. This is why people typically present multiple different symptoms which they think are separate. And they set about trying to fix each symptom in isolation, right? They get, a steroid cream for the skin condition, something else for the autoimmune condition, something else for the pain, and they feel like they have, if they have 5 different symptoms, they have 5 different problems, which really is not really the case, The beauty about mind-body healing is that we can simplify this. We can say like, okay, these are symptoms that are as a result of this dysregulation, whatever you'd like to call it, this TMS, this issue, this stress illness, right? These are all psychophysiologic, okay? And knowing that if you resolve or if you calm down that nervous system, all the symptoms are going to reduce or get eliminated. Everything is going to benefit. And this is why we focus just on the source. And this is why we remind ourselves that there is nothing, strictly speaking, to fix in the body. And just knowing that can also help you, get out of the idea that you are broken, there's something wrong with you or with your body. And by the way, this also applies to symptoms like anxiety or depression. When people feel that they have this problem, this mental problem, I have depression, I have anxiety, they make it their own and they think that they need to fix themselves somehow. They need to really change themselves. In reality, it's just the perspective that needs to change. Depression and anxiety are also just symptoms, okay? What needs to be done is to create a greater sense of safety in your life, however that looks like, right? For some people, it just looks like starting to pursue a hobby again, starting to pursue more pleasant activities more regularly, making time for self-care. For some people, it actually takes a change to get out of a toxic situation, an important decision, not holding back from that important decision. Okay, so it looks different for everyone, really. But what we have to remember is that within ourselves as such, there is nothing to fix in the sense that our body is okay. We are not permanently anxious or permanently depressed. It's just that these symptoms are a reflection of something else that's going on. And as human beings, we are okay and we can start to feel better in our bodies as we do this kind of work. So I'd just like you to remind yourself of this whenever you start getting a little bit too attentive to the symptoms. Whenever you start wondering, but why do I have this symptom? What can I do for it? Should I do this treatment? Should I do that? Will this work? You are in fixing mode right there. And if your condition is mind-body, fixing mode will not help, right? It's something else that you have to focus on. You have to think psychological, as Dr. John Sarno emphasized in his work. Think psychological about your symptoms. Think why you might have symptoms. What can you do to bring yourself more peace and relaxation and more peace of mind, really? So let go of the idea that your body is problematic. It is not. You have a fully functioning body, most likely. You're just experiencing unpleasant symptoms, and let go of the idea that you need to constantly fix yourself. This in itself will help you release all the resistance you might have to the symptoms, to wanting to fix them immediately, resolve everything immediately, okay? It brings about a release of resistance, which is so, so important to healing, which I also deal with separately in other videos and also in my recovery program. It's releasing this resistance to whatever is right now, accepting where you are right now, not constantly trying to fix yourself. The only thing that needs to change is your mindset, is the way in which you prioritize yourself and your well-being. And with that said, I wish you a lovely week ahead, and I'll see you again next time.